Now, Chris, say something.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Good.
Nice.
That's the kind of attitude we like over here.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the realistic me, so.
Everything's a lie.
Yeah.
All right.
It's all a facade.
I guess this is a good way to start the podcast.
We're all dying.
Yeah.
Here's the intro. Wow, Sardonicast, great movies. Keep it up. Proud of you.
Nice.
Good one.
Stolen from the H3. How's it going, everybody? We're Sardonicast. I'm Adam from YourMovieStinks.com.
I'm Ralph from YouTube.com/Ralph the Movie Maker.
And I'm Alex from I Hate Everything.
Why are you saying and? There's one more person here.
You can still say and.
I was.
You can say and.
Yeah,
No,
okay.
that's grammatically incorrect to say and then
Well, what
and
if that?
after.
What if we were done listing the main cast and then we were going to introduce our special guest?
That's true.
You
All
had
right.
no idea what
continue.
was going to happen.
I stand corrected. Go ahead.
Who's our special guest?
My name's Chris Stuckmann, and I turned my last name into a dumb catchphrase.
Nice.
Get Stuckmanized.
What
What an
prompted you
honor.
to do that?
What does it mean to get Stuckmanized?
You know, honestly, it was like, I don't know, like fucking 2011, and I was there was this old web show called, this old website called Blog TV where you could do live web streams.
I remember that.
And like fans could come and see you and stuff. People were talking about like how I should have a catchphrase, and this was like when I had, I was under 100,000 subs, I think, at that time, and I was like, well, here's like 6 stupid ones, and it was a poll, and I included Stuckmanized and like get stucked and stuck you and all these stupid things, and they voted for it. They voted. They were like,
wow.
Stuckmanized is our favorite. And so I was like, you know what? I'm just going to use it. So honestly, like my viewers at the time voted, and I picked the one they chose. And it's sort of quote unquote stuck ever since then. And I've always wanted to like, I think every single year I feel like changing it more and more because I want to kill myself every time I say it.
But no,
It's good
that's
to
a
have
cute
a
little story
signature.
behind it. That
Yeah.
makes it charming, actually. I like it more now.
It's a good thing that you didn't go with get stuck because at this year it
Right.
would sound like get cucked.
Oh no.
It
I
sounds
like
too
that
similar.
one,
So good.
Yeah, it would.
Good thing that's not it.
It's true.
What? When did you start the YouTubes?
2009, back in the day, man. I mean, it's been on. I mean, this August it'll be 9 years. So
Holy
it's
shit.
sort of
Wow.
terrifying, actually.
Wow.
Yeah. And you got 1 million subs. Way more than that, right?
I guess, yeah, I do.
How's that pressure? I can't handle 400,000. I'm like fucking freaking
It is
out.
pressure.
I don't know what to do
It is
anymore.
pressure. It's like I was talking to my friend the other day, and we had just seen Solo at the screening, and we were both like, "Man, that was really average." And we were like, Don't you miss that time where you could just go to a movie, have an opinion, and then just go home and not care?"
Yep.
And now it's
Yeah.
like you have to tell everyone, you have to make sure that you come across as well as you can in the video, or that you are being yourself while also entertaining, while also being honest. Because if you're too honest, then you're just a hater. If you're not honest enough, you're a shill. So it's like I miss those days where you could just like go to the theaters, have fun, watch a good movie or a bad movie, and then just go to work the next day not caring.
Yeah.
I agree with you, although I do find that there is a hidden benefit to that for myself personally, because it helps me kind of be able to properly phrase and understand my own opinions on a film. Sometimes if I just think about it for a while, then I'm like, oh, okay, and it starts to form itself better, and I start to understand more why I feel the way I do about certain aspects of a movie.
Yeah, but like when you're an
Yeah.
up and comer, you don't have to worry about anything you say. Like it can be totally incorrect, but you're doing it for fun. But as you get
Oh,
like
yeah.
a bigger audience, you have to start like watching your words carefully because they actually matter and people listen to them. So it makes it less fun as a whole
Yeah,
and more like work. But
I
yeah,
hear ya.
I get
Yeah.
what both of you were saying.
I psychoanalyze pretty much everything like if I say an actor's name that's a more difficult name, especially if I'm reviewing a foreign film, I start watching like TIFF interviews or like when an
Yeah.
announcer has to like announce them to like make sure I say their name right.
Yeah.
Because if you're a print critic, you don't have to worry about that. You just copy and paste their name from IMDb. You have to like make sure you pronounce the name correctly, or you have to make some big show of it to say like, oh well, I'm not gonna try to butcher this person's name because it's too hard. Sorry. There's so many little factors you have to work into once you do have a level of success to not just make or craft an entertaining video or review. You have to also like factor in all these little things to make sure that they're not psychoanalyzing, everything you could possibly say incorrectly.
Our lives are so hard.
I know. I'm just gonna go.
Some people don't have food in this world. We're complaining about fucking making reviews on the internet. Yeah, it's all relative.
In reality, Ralph, like I totally agree with you. Like I am happy. It's just that it's fun. It's fun to get together with like-minded people and just rant about like random YouTube BS.
The struggles of YouTube. I agree with you.
I also often look up how names are pronounced, and sometimes the people who introduce them in interviews have no fucking idea how to do it either, and they just kind of wing it and go with it and hope and pray, or just pretend like they didn't do anything wrong. Just say it with confidence. And for the director of Arrival, Denis Villeneuve.
That's how I read it.
Oh my god! With him now, correct me. Is it Denis Villeneuve?
Yes, Denis.
Okay, great.
Veal, as in like veal, like baby cow, and then Neuve, as in
great. Okay, so like what happened was when I first reviewed, I think it was Prisoners. I said I don't remember what I said, but I think I said I'm not going to try it, or maybe I did try it. I don't remember. That was like 2013, and I had a really nice lady from Canada send me a private video back when you could do that.
Nice.
And it was just like, hey, I'm a big fan. This is how you pronounce his name. And she said it like 10 times in a row just for me.
That's weird. That's
I was like, all right, well, now I know how to do it.
Yeah, sometimes I still have no fucking idea.
Fans are weird. Have you ever gotten nude pictures from fans?
Oh, yeah.
I'm just curious because I don't think I'm the only one. Do you two get it too, Adam and Alex?
On Snapchat, yeah.
I don't have a Snapchat.
Yeah, it got to the point where I can recognize it before I even open it now, so I just delete it instantly.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I'd rather not have it scarred into my brain.
Huh. Mm-hmm. I don't get that often at all. Maybe it's because they know it wouldn't really faze me.
Yeah, maybe.
I can't think of a time. If you make it clear that something bothers you, then people will do it,
Yeah, the first time I ever got one, I was like, what? Like, I was single still, so I was like, what's this all about? And I clicked on it, and I was like, okay, that's obviously not even the person. That's just porn. And then, like, every once in a while now, if I get something, obviously now it's like background noise. I barely even notice. It's just like an instant delete, and I'm on with my day.
Yeah, I just think it's funny. I get a little chuckle out of it, and then
it is funny.
I've been asked to give them nudes before. That's happened a few times.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's common practice, isn't it?
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever been asked to fulfill anyone's fetish?
Yeah, a few times.
Me too. Yeah.
Well, strangers or
somebody asked for like pictures of the soles of my feet, and I was like, okay, and I did it.
Really?
I don't care. It's like not even nudity to me.
You made their whole night.
People see my feet on the beach. How could I be ashamed of that? I don't give a shit. It's a small thing I can do for somebody else. Clearly made their day.
Made his whole day.
Just to get them off. Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate those pictures you sent, Adam.
Someone asked me to send him like a 5-minute video of me staring into the screen, crossing my eyes.
Very specific.
To get them
they
off?
Have a cross-eye fetish.
What?
Oh, that's their fetish. Okay.
Yeah, like I looked it up and it's totally real. Like there's whole videos of it, like of people just crossing their eyes.
Yeah, there's a fetish for everything.
Yeah, there is. I had to I'm doing a 50 Shades of Grey review, all 3 of them, so I had to look up like some really sick porn to just compare it to. Like, look how much better internet porn is. And I found this thing called pterodactyl porn, where it's guys dressed up in
Oh,
pterodactyl
I've seen
suits
that.
having sex with a woman, and I'm like,
What?
Whose fetish is this? This must be like 8 people on the fucking planet, and there's a whole genre
Yeah.
of porn just dedicated to them.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
This conversation just went off the rails, but
No, I'm very compelled
thanks.
to just turn off Discord right now and just start looking at pterodactyls.
Yeah. I think
well, if
I've
you guys want
seen
to talk
every
about a film,
Okay, yeah, fine.
we could. Yeah.
We got a lot of I don't know if you guys noticed these comments at all, but people were comparing our reviews for Deadpool 2 and being like, man, they're going to really duke it out on the next episode of Sardonicast.
They always do
but our
that.
ratings weren't that different. It was like between, what, a 5 and a... What was yours, Stuckman? I think yours... Was yours the highest?
I
Or
gave
was
it a
Ralph's?
B.
A B. A 5 and a B. And what, B is like equivalent to like a 7 or something?
Like a 6,
Yeah.
6.5
Yeah,
to
it's
a
like-
7, yeah.
The lowest was a 5. I gave it a 6. Ralph, you gave it what?
Like a 7, I guess.
Yeah, I
gave
mean,
it
we
4
didn't-
stars, right?
And we're not going to argue with each other over that shit.
Yeah, it's Deadpool.
what is-
it's like,
what
oh,
is there
you
to
didn't
discuss?
find it funny? That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
That's not- that's about where it starts and ends.
Well, you didn't like the action sequences? Are you insane?
What's wrong with you? You call yourself a critic?
You're clearly paid by Disney or Fox.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There were a few people that thought that I didn't notice the choir singing "Holy shit balls" because I mentioned the composition, and said that it wasn't all that impressive. And although I did forget about that part when I was recording that part of my review, I still don't find it all that special. I feel like that's been done many of times before. That's been done in like Drawn Together. It was done in that beer commercial that was really popular on YouTube.
I found
where
it.
it's like,
I found it special because it didn't draw any attention to itself. It was just kind of thing in the background, and you picked up on it like later on. You're like, oh, that's kind of cute.
yeah, it
Give
played
me a little
Yeah.
chuckle. I
by
like that.
itself in the end credits too.
That's
Oh,
that's
I
where I
didn't
noticed,
notice that
right, in the credits.
Really, in the credits, I noticed it's just like in some random
I
action
noticed it
scene.
in
I'm
the
like, oh, they're
scene.
saying "holy shit balls."
Mm.
That's cute.
Yeah, it's all right. It wasn't that special.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, I was a big fan of the first film because it felt like it came out at the right time. Like, it came out in the midst of all this. People are still today talking about superhero fatigue, but like
Hmm.
when Deadpool came out, a lot of people. That's kind of like when the conversations were starting. Like, okay, we've had Avengers, and now we're having the DC universe, and now we have the Fantastic Four, and all this stuff. And Deadpool was just like the great antidote to that, where you could just watch a movie where someone literally makes fun of that while also while also being that. So I mean, I don't know, it worked for me. I've always liked the character in the comics, and I thought they did a great representation of it after having seen like the butchery they did to him in the Origins shitfest. So
Oh yeah, that little nod at the end.
with this one, I definitely didn't like it quite as much as the first. I know that the director Tim Miller from the first film had some issues with the direction they were taking this, and he left the project because of arguing or whatever, whatever they said in the news videos that they made. And so I don't know. I didn't like it as much as the first. I didn't think it's had like the same vitality the first one had. Obviously it's not going to be as shocking or as surprising the second time around, just like with any film like Deadpool when you make a sequel, but it was still an entertaining film. The character still felt true to himself, true to his roots. And I guess I didn't really like the villains because they were like mini and they kept shifting. So
Yeah,
much.
it was kind of like, I don't know, side quest villain sort of thing.
And it didn't help that they repeated half of the jokes from the first one. Did you notice that?
Yeah,
But they did them differently enough to where I thought it was cute.
Well,
Like I
fucking callbacks.
didn't have any of those issues. See, the thing is,
Somewhat.
I agree with you, Chris, that the impact is kind of dulled now because this is the second one and it's not as relevant anymore. But I think it's just a better made movie as a whole than the first one, which is why I liked it more. It's everything I wanted the first one to be,
Yeah.
like just done straight out. I like for
Really?
a Deadpool movie, I don't really see how you can do anything better for me because I thought
Right.
it was hilarious and that's all I wanted it to be, and it was fun.
Was Logan already set to be rated R before the first Deadpool was released, or do you?
I don't think so.
We think that
No. I don't
that
think
had
so
a
either. They even took,
contribution
like, pay
towards
cuts.
that decision.
Definitely.
Yeah, they did. Like, there's even a joke in the beginning of Deadpool 2, like the very first scene, Wade Wilson, he's like, first Wolvie rides my coattails with the R rating, then he has to go and fucking die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that
Yeah.
there's this whole rivalry in the whole movie where like Deadpool's trying to outdo Wolverine
Yeah.
and making his film like more dramatic and sad at the end.
Yeah, I do like the meta references in the second film in particular. Just the fact that it keeps reminding you it's a movie and talks about its box office success and shit like that.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny to me. Does anybody remember when the first film was announced and set to be released, and there was an online petition for a PG-13 rated Deadpool, so some little stupid kid could see it? Does anybody remember
Yes.
that?
Really?
Oh yeah,
I don't remember
No.
that at all.
It was.
I do.
It was very much popularized by another YouTube critic that I'm not going to name because I don't want people to bash her. But it was one of those things where I was just
Oh,
like,
yes,
this is a you don't understand anything about why this is important for it to be R-rated. Like why
Yeah.
if the little kid can only see the movie if it's PG-13, then either the mom should be like, okay, it's cool, you can watch this rated R film with me, which you're legally allowed to do. There's no issue there. Or just wait until you're older. Fuck off.
That's part of the joke. That's what makes it funny. Because it's not just vulgar humor. It's vulgar humor in a superhero movie, which is what makes it funny for me anyway. Yeah,
Or-
fuck that kid.
Like, or that kid could do what I did when I was not allowed to watch rated R's. Like when I was like 10, I waited for them to come on the TV and they were edited for content.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
We'll just sneak
You
in the
watch it-
theater. That's what I did.
Like, wait 2 years and watch it when it's on FX because it's on FX every day now anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no, I don't understand the whole concept of trying to petition Fox to change the film and make a separate cut and have it play in twice as many theaters or half as many for the R-rated one or whatever. Like
They should have released it and like at Walmart, just like a Walmart exclusive Blu-ray, and it was just called it's called like The Cut for That Kid.
It'd be
man,
like
Just
5
for that one
minutes long.
kid.
I should
Just
have
send it to-
just fucking swept in and be like, kid, I will make a fan edit for you, and just cut out half the movie
Yeah. Like,
and
he
just
wouldn't
mail
get
him a
anything out of it.
copy. Yeah, there we go. We
So
have
here's
we
what
have
I'm
a PG-13
here's what I'm
cut.
curious about. Because Alex, I don't think you liked the movie, right? Or you were okay
I
on
really
it.
didn't. No.
So I
gave
wanna
it,
argue
what, a
with you.
5? Okay, argue with me. Let me explain my experience of how it went down.
Okay.
And this might be a cultural thing, okay?
Yeah, I was
So
thinking that too.
I roll up to Deadpool 2. It's
Mm-hmm.
a relatively busy theater, got people around me. Film starts, just silence. And then the film ends. Like, and there's just like one little minor chuckle through the whole thing. I think that is kind of part of it. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, you could tell that the audiences kind of enjoyed it, like a bit, but
Yeah, but nothing.
even when like there were a couple times I wanted to laugh out loud, it was like, God, am I going to embarrass like myself here? Or,
Yeah, that's
or what? It was
awkward,
really
too.
weird.
It couldn't have been like as good as your experience watching the Emoji Movie with the crowd.
Yeah.
That was
Weren't
pretty
they
epic.
laughing a lot?
Yeah, they were actually more than Deadpool
More
2.
than Deadpool.
I swear
Well-
I have the worst experiences in the cinema.
I
compared
hear
to
that
you guys.
British humor is very different, and from the
What do you
media
hear?
I've seen, I mean,
Yeah, I think that's part of why it just didn't gel with me.
Yeah.
I like much more dry humor, and I like the jokes to be. I was in the shower trying to think about what it was. I don't particularly like about these Deadpool movies. I like the first one more, but
Oh.
I think I boiled it down to something along these lines of. I was thinking about comedies where I really like the humor in it.
Mhm.
And I think it comes down to the characters. Instead of rattling off jokes nonstop, their character in and of themselves is what's funny. So think of something like The Big Lebowski, right?
Yeah.
All those characters, they're not streaming off jokes nonstop.
Yeah.
The characters are funny, and them interacting is what's funny.
Deadpool isn't exactly subtle when it comes to its humor. Like, there's
I
a
think
couple of
that's part
subtle
of it
jokes
too.
here and there, but I mean, the overall humorous aspect is pretty straightforward. You know,
Yeah.
Right?
To me,
I mean, like
hits-
he literally
hits
turns
you
to
over
the,
the
to
head.
the camera and like talks to us.
did I leave the
Yeah,
oven
exactly.
on in the middle of a fight? It's like I didn't find that very funny, and that was in the trailer.
It's-
Yeah, there's little jokes like that don't work throughout the whole thing.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, I thought half of the jokes worked and half of the jokes didn't. It was just annoying me how I wish it was either more absurd or took itself more seriously and used that to be funny.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that I will say about it is that it kind of wants to be two things at once. You know,
Exactly.
it could go into full force meta humor, nothing makes sense, this movie is a joke sort of thing, but at the same time it also tries to have the whole, you know, cliched serious superhero aspect to it as well.
Yeah.
And in the same sense, so does Guardians of the Galaxy at points too. You know, it tries to have both. When I wish, you know, it would appeal to me more if it just didn't even try to have the more standardized stereotypical elements, which is why I love Black Dynamite. The whole thing is a fucking joke. You know, Kung Pao, the
Yeah.
whole thing's a fucking joke. You know, even if we're not talking about parody films, there's some movies like Smiley Face, the whole thing's a fucking joke. I like movies like that.
Yeah,
There was
sure.
just this sort of arrogance, I guess is the word I would describe, where it was like, look, we're doing the same things other superheroes movies do, but it's bad when they do it, but we're aware that we're doing it, which means it's okay and funny.
Yeah.
You know, like they point out, look, this is bad writing.
Oh, I hate
It's
that
like,
line.
well, it's still bad writing.
But then
You
I
know?
don't think it would work as a superhero movie as a whole if there were no stakes. And that's why I find the serious elements interesting in both the Deadpool movies, is that it actually takes the serious stuff seriously, which I do like. And it's like, I think it's funny because it's just a straightforward superhero movie with this one character in it that's completely self-aware of how fucking dumb the entire genre is and just constantly pokes fun at the structure of the story and how, like, you know, greedy and corporate foxes and all that stuff surrounding the movie. That's why I find it funny. I don't want it to reinvent the wheel. I just enjoy the meta humor in it.
I also feel like, I guess if it did actually go super far in that direction, it would be very difficult for it to connect itself with the rest of the Marvel universe, and it's kind of trying to do that in a way. Like, who knows what the fuck's going to happen now that Disney owns Fox? Are they going to try to make Deadpool a part of the MCU? What's going to happen there?
I don't know.
What do you
I didn't
think?
even
That's like
hear that
that's
thing.
the big question, really, is how can they would have to censor him in some way, or they would have to
Yeah.
I think just from like a pure rating aesthetic, he fits more in with like the Netflix Marvel universe that because they're all very violent and like rated mature and stuff than he does with the feature films. So I don't really know how they could do that. I think I want them to stay separate. That's just me. I mean, you're going to get your people who want to see 20 people on the screen at the same time blowing things up, but I just want to see like the Deadpool movies just be their own thing, kind of inclusive but separate at the same time.
Yeah, that's why I find it fun. It's because it's just its own little thing off to the side that's not connected to anything. It's just they're good self-contained movies.
Would you guys like to see? I was thinking about, like, you know, the way Airplane
Yes.
parodies just the ridiculous nature of those kinds of films. I would like to see Deadpool attempt something like that. You know, where it's just ridiculous, absurd, and just fully embraces what it is instead of still doing what it is, but just being self-aware about it. I think it's just the
Yeah.
self-awareness that gets me the most.
I would like that too. It's like 80% of the way there. I do think there's some
Yeah, that's
serious
the
stuff that
thing.
doesn't work. But then there's like the action scene in the middle of the movie where just collateral damage, just like a fuck ton of stuff is just destroyed and they crash into cars constantly. And that's making fun of like the DC movies where they just cause tons of collateral damage
Yeah.
and there's no consequences for it. I love stuff like that.
I would like something like that too, but I think this is kind of a careful what you wish for scenario, because
Yeah.
it might just be directed by Friedberg and Seltzer.
Oh my god.
Yeah, the best spoof directors. Are they making movies
Save us.
still?
Yeah,
Oh, they made their money.
technically.
I think they are, but I
they
feel
are.
like a lot of people were like, "Hey, these people make terrible shit films," and then it sort of started to get around, so they're making less. I don't know.
The title of their upcoming film is called Star World's Episode XXXIVE equals MC2 The Force
Oh,
Awakens The Last Jedi Who Went Rogue. That's
They're so funny.
the title of their next film. Well, you get it? It's parodying Star Wars. Ha.
Yeah.
I got the joke. I understand that reference.
To back off like what you guys were saying about how you wish Deadpool would be more irreverent and insane. I feel
Mhm.
like if they allow him to keep that time travel device that he has at the end of Deadpool 2, where he, in the end credits, he goes back in time, that would make for a really interesting Deadpool 3 if they let him do all kinds of things with that throughout the entire film. Like it would just
Mhm.
make the entire movie absolutely insane. I know I guess in the original script for Deadpool 2, they cut it out though. This and again, my friend who lives in LA, he told me this, so like, take it with a grain of salt. There was a scene when he gets the time travel device where he goes back prior to Nazi Germany and he finds baby Hitler in a
Mhm.
crib, and he thinks about it for a second. He's like, "This is a toughie," and then he just unloads bullets into the crib.
See,
That's
that
what my friend
sounds
told
good.
me. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
okay,
heard
so
the
I've
same
never heard
thing.
that.
okay,
That's great.
Yeah,
Oh,
it
they
was
should have
apparently it was
included
supposed
that.
to be like one of the end credits sequences because
okay,
he did a lot. He did a lot of going back in time and killing then, but apparently
yeah,
they just didn't want to end the movie on killing a baby. But yeah, I just heard this
probably.
from
Why
my
not?
friend, so
Oh, come
I don't
on.
know how accurate this is, but I heard this from my friend too. So
It's baby Hitler. You think Disney will allow it now?
Right. I hope he has that device in the third one because it would make it just absolutely insanity. He time travels quite a bit in the comics too.
hmm.
I haven't read all of them. I've read some of them, but that would be a really great addition to the movie to just make it even more nuts.
I completely agree with you.
Here's a question for you, because I know you like comics. I'm not a huge comic person. What's your
Sure.
favorite comic? Do you have a favorite?
Most let's see, probably Daredevil's Frank Miller's Daredevil run.
Hmm.
Those are my
Oh,
favorites. They're dark, they're violent, they're bloody, they're just there's no hope in them at all. Like there's barely even like a wink
Hmm.
to what could be fun in them, but it doesn't come off depressing or dour. It just comes off natural, and I've always loved his art style too.
Hmm.
I feel like he's completely unique in that. There's no other artist who draws the way he does. But when it comes to comics, like I'm not an authority. I don't consider myself an authority. I have like in my basement, I have one shelf with graphic novels, and that's it. And
Hmm.
I've read a lot of those, but like I don't go to the comic shop and read every issue every week or something. I haven't read a new comic in a very long time. I've just I went through like a phase in my teenage years where I read a whole bunch for fun. I would rent them from the library because I had like no money at all. And just read a whole bunch of them. And so I've always appreciated them. I think that's probably why I like comic book movies more probably than you guys do, just because
Hmm.
I tend to see these stories I read coming to life.
Yeah.
But it also makes me more judgmental of them too, since I know the source and I tend to look at the source more. And so, like for instance, with Deadpool 2, I was like, it's good, it was fine, it's a B, and people, oh my God, it's perfect, it's an A, you're wrong, and I'm like, okay, whatever. It's like, have a nice day.
yeah.
I guess we didn't really talk about this in the episode where we were talking about Infinity War, but a friend told me that in the comics, Thanos had a completely different motivation.
Yeah, he is obsessed with death,
Hmm.
and he's
He's
trying to
a
basically
character, right? Death is
yeah, he's
a
trying to like
she, right?
court death, I
Yeah,
think.
it's a
Okay.
lady. I don't know. I mean, I guess like cinematically, it probably makes more sense the way they did it, but just logistically, trying to understand the character, I feel like it makes more sense for him to be, trying to get laid than just being like,
Yeah. I mean,
because that
it
makes
made-
more sense to me. I don't know.
his logic was fine in that movie.
You could expand the universe by 2.
I do like Deadpool 2 more than Infinity War. Am I alone in that, thinking that Deadpool 2 is better?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I like Infinity War a bit more.
Really? All right.
Yeah.
I mean, I liked it, but
I like it significantly more. I thought everything about it was better than Deadpool.
wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not one thing I can think of.
Yeah,
I even
pretty
like the
much.
humor more in Infinity War.
Yeah.
Oh, that I can't agree with you.
I think Infinity War is my favorite
Whatever.
Marvel movie.
Really?
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. More
I was
than,
thinking about it.
Guardians.
Well, so like
like the Guardians ones, right?
Guardians and Homecoming were the only ones that I had rated a 7, and now it like
Now they're sixes
I already
again?
said that they're 6s now. And out of all of the Marvel movies I can think of, there's not a single one that's begging me to watch it again. Like I'm thinking like, I could revisit Homecoming, I could revisit Guardians, but I don't want to. There's nothing about it that makes me
Yeah.
feel like I'm going to get something more out of a second watch. And there's nothing about my first watch that was so great that makes me want to see it again, sort of thing. Whereas Infinity War, I could watch it again. I liked what I was feeling in that movie. I liked a decent amount
I
about
did
it.
watch it again. I actually liked it more the second time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really? That's
Yeah,
cool.
because like on the first time, it was just so much to take in, and it was just it was just constantly happening, and like these huge scene after huge scene. It never felt like it slowed down, and I kind of felt like it was a detriment to the film the first time I saw it because I was just kind of on overload when I left the theater, and I went and saw it again like a couple days later, and it flowed really nicely, and I was able to kind of relax a little bit and not care about analyzing everything and making sure everything. That's one of the things about first viewings with these big movies. You're carefully watching everything, listening, trying to make sure you don't miss anything. And it's nice on the second viewing to be like, I'm just going to have fun and watch this movie.
Mm-hmm.
In regards to like favorite Marvel movies, I don't have a favorite, but I can tell you the one that has the best rewatchability for me over the past. I know it's only been a not even quite a year, but I've seen Thor Ragnarok more times than most because it just feels. It doesn't really feel like it fits in with the rest, which is one of the things I like. One of the things I like about it. It was a complete turnaround for the Thor character, and it wasn't like. I mean, I don't even feel like ever watching the first two Thors literally ever again.
Yeah.
I don't feel like watching them
that's-
for the first time.
You shouldn't.
Now that I've seen that version of him, the other two just I don't even want to look at it. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
and Taika Waititi, I actually got to meet him
Woo!
this year, and he was super fucking cool.
That's dope.
Yeah.
Like it was at the Critics' Choice Awards. I got to go for like the first time. I asked him how he balances making like this giant movie with like his other films he's made that are considerably smaller, like Hunt for the Wilder People or whatever. And he just looks at me. He put his hand on my shoulder and he said, "Make one for you, make one for them."
Yeah.
And I was like, "That's a good way to look at it." Like you work hard on something that you want to create for yourself that feels personal to you, that you feel like you have to get out of your system, but then you also have to pay your bills and you have to support your family or whatever. So it was a good way to look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've always kind of felt that way, especially when considering the whole fiasco with Josh Trank and Fant Forstick. Because, I mean, he was throwing a fucking fit over not having all the creative control he wanted, despite working on, a pre-existing IP that is a superhero movie for Fox. And he was bitching about not having full creative control. But all I was thinking is just like, just bite the bullet. You signed on to this project. Make the thing that they want you to make, and then make the movie you want to make after. If you continue this and you make something like half decent and don't just throw the entire project down the shitter, you can do whatever you want. Just have some patience. But
Yeah, make
apparently
it
he
as
didn't
you
want to
can.
do that.
Yeah.
Some directors are very much so control freaks. I've met a lot that, I mean, I'm not going to name him, and you wouldn't even know him anyway. He's a very small time like indie director who I've met recently. I went to the set. It was shooting in Ohio, so I was able to go. And I went because I'm friends with a cinematographer. It's the same cinematographer that did my short film. And he invited me to the set. He was telling me on the side, like, yeah, we're having all these issues right now with the way, with control and with the way he's viewing the shots, and he's not happy with this and he's not happy with that, and the actors are starting to feel uncomfortable. And I was talking to him about it, and it's true. Some directors, they cannot even think about pressing record or beginning to edit unless it is exactly what they want. They have no compromising tactics. They don't know how to do that. So yeah, I think Trank, like you said, I mean, he should have just, again, none of us were there, but like there should have been a moment where he justified the level of film he's making with what he's done in the past and sort of figure out a way to compromise with everybody.
Well, also, like,
Yeah.
he didn't invent Fantastic Four. Like,
Right.
I would
Right.
say that it's perfectly justified for many directors to be control freaks, and my favorite directors are very likely control freaks, and it shows in their
Absolutely,
work.
yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, like, look at Kubrick. I mean, he was
Yeah.
insane.
You can't do that with somebody else's project. Like Fantastic Four is Fox's project. I don't care if your name's on it. I don't care if you're a director for hire. You don't own Fantastic Four. You're making a superhero movie for a big studio, right?
Yeah, that's why Marvel and all these other studios always get indie directors to direct these big movies, because they
Yeah.
go at the end of the day like, listen, you made one indie movie and we're fucking Marvel and we're gonna make $1 billion, so you do what we say at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
And you know,
Yeah,
Right.
put your
not that
name on
that's
the
a
map.
bad mindset. Yeah,
You'll get your projects funded more easily in the future, and you'll have more creative control.
I mean, I hope
Exactly.
so.
How do you guys think this has impacted the new Star Wars film that's just come out? Because that had a bit of controversy behind it.
Are you talking about the Lord and Miller
Lord and
sort
Miller.
of thing? Well,
Yeah.
I don't know why they had to drop out. It was just creative differences, right? But I mean,
I
it's
think so.
Disney, so
We
They
don't
were
know.
making a fun movie. God forbid. it's too entertaining.
I read an interview with Amelia Clark she did the other day. She played Kira in the movie, and like her all she said about it was that Ron Howard saved the movie. And
Really?
yeah, and then she made like this sort of like offhand quote where she said like her exact quote was something like, if y'all are gonna tell me to keep acting like I'm from a film noir movie, I don't know what that means. And a lot of people took that as saying that that's the direction that Lord and Miller were giving her, and that she wasn't doing much with it. So I don't know. Like apparently, the actors seemed happier with the change, but yeah, I mean, this is what always happens whenever we hear about these edits. When the Rogue One edits happened, or when the Justice League edits happened, and now everyone always like, well, I want to see the other cut. I mean, I honestly do, but like there is a chance that it's not as good. I mean,
how far into
Yeah.
production was the Lord and Miller thing, though? They only had a script, right?
I'm pretty
They
sure
didn't
they
start
shot the
directing.
whole film.
No,
What?
I think
Oh,
they
no.
like
No.
halfway.
What?
Yeah,
Oh
halfway
my
yeah,
gosh.
more
shot.
than halfway.
This is
More
news to
than
me. I
halfway.
didn't
I
even know.
thought they'd finished
Holy
shooting
shit.
it, but
Yeah, they were
Wow.
almost done.
that's why it's such an expensive film in the end. It has a ludicrously big budget because they reshot like 70% of the film or something.
It costs more than any other Star Wars movie,
Wow.
right? It's the most expensive one, which
And
is
it's
shocking.
one of the
That's
safest
some, like-
ones.
Yeah, like some Han Solo knockoff movie is like the most expensive fucking movie in the entire
funny.
series. Who would have thought that?
I read an interview with Harrison Ford, or not an interview, where it was Ron Howard. He said Harrison Ford said he adored it. I want to see like Harrison Ford in like 5 years. Some paparazzi walks up to him. What'd you really think of the Han Solo? It sucked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, how
Like,
much did they
that's
pay him
what
to
he
think
does,
that?
you know.
Yeah.
What'd you guys think of the main actor?
Alden Ehrenreich.
Who's all seen it?
Oh yeah,
Everyone's seen it but Ralph.
I haven't seen it, but
Okay.
the rest of you can talk about it. I didn't.
Alex,
It's
did you
fine,
see it?
And I didn't care.
Yep, I've seen it.
Oh wow, Ralph, you were the person in the last episode that said you would definitely see it just to make money.
I said I might see it to make money off the review,
Oh.
but I didn't end up seeing it because I was busy this week. I had no interest in seeing it. It looks so fucking boring.
Yeah, me
But I've
neither.
heard mixed things. Quentin Reviews said it was awful, and then I've heard some people say it's okay, and then Red Letter Media liked it. So I'm like, all right, we'll see what happens. I'll
Well,
go see it this weekend.
Some of Red Letter Media liked it, and even then
some
they
of it.
just said it was all right.
One third of it did not like it as
Yeah.
much.
I was the person last episode that said I definitely would not be seeing it, but I had pulled an all-nighter because I was still jet lagged from Cannes, and it was noon, and I was already out of the house, and I was like, well, if I go back home, I'm just going to fall asleep, and that would be bad. So I looked at my phone, and I was like, hey, well, Star Wars is playing. I guess I can do something productive, and that's how my story ends. It was all right.
You didn't
I
fall asleep during it.
No, I'm pretty good at not falling asleep during movies. Except for the movie Awake.
Yeah, Awake is a
Yeah.
that's the exception.
The Hayden Christensen movie.
Yes.
Oh my god.
I
I
fell asleep
remember
in
watching
theater
that back in
for
the day.
That
I was
bad.
really, I remember, but when I saw the previews, I thought it was such a fucked up idea. And I was afraid the entire movie was going to be like a surgery torture porn movie. And it's really not. Like, there's like this whole stupid backstory that
Yeah.
like builds up that's so dumb.
It's really convoluted.
Yeah.
Yeah, what did you guys think of the main actor?
He's fine, I guess. I feel bad for him kind of because you can't really do anything with it. You basically you're hampered into an imitation of something that everyone around the world already loves, and you just kind of have to find a way to emulate that while also following the script. I've liked a lot of Lawrence Kasdan's work. I mean, he's written some classics, Raiders of the Lost Ark, Empire Strikes Back. I mean, he basically helped invent one of the greatest characters of all time, Indiana Jones, between him and Lucas and Spielberg. And this script was so fucking safe. Like there's never even like a hint of that edginess that Harrison Ford gave Han Solo in the originals. There's never a moment where he's not smirking or smiling or chuckling or telling some joke or not caring about something. He's always just relying on luck to get him out of situations, and that's sort of like the aura that's like been created around Han Solo, but that's not actually how he portrays himself in the movies.
Yeah, I didn't really feel like I saw the character, whereas with Donald Glover and Lando Calrissian, like I'm not a huge Star Wars fan at all. I barely have any memory of Lando Calrissian, but when I saw Donald Glover play him, I was like, that's it. Like it immediately jogged my memory. I was like, oh yeah, this is I know exactly who this is. And
definitely.
Then playing Han Solo, a character who's supposed to be incredibly recognizable, I didn't see any of it in him.
See, I thought he was okay, but it was the material that held him back the most, because it was just everything he had to do was so predictable and by the books, and he was just given nothing to work with. And it was the same way for a lot of the actors in the movie. Like I wasn't even that impressed by Lando. I know a lot of people are saying how good he was, but to me, I got the impression that it was just kind of an impression a lot of the time. It didn't always work for me. But the whole film just... It's the biggest problem. It's pointless. It's a pointless film. Everything about it, like they're at the point where they're making films about throwaway lines from the previous movies. It's like
they're gonna milk it dry.
That's all they have.
It's the ship that made the Kessel Run in less than 12 parsecs. Okay,
we can make a movie out of that. Get on it.
Let's make a movie. Oh my God, $400 million in the bag.
Han Solo, he's had his arc. He's had his story. So when you go, that character has no space to grow or learn or do anything.
But don't you want to know how he got his name?
Exactly. Don't you want to know that? Oh, Ralph, can I spoil it?
Yeah, go ahead.
The name thing is not that much of a spoiler, but go for it.
There's nothing to spoil.
It's like, it's so dumb. He has to get out of a facility in Corellia, where his home planet, and he thinks the fastest way is to join the Empire because they're taking everybody. And he's like the grunt, or not the grunt, but the guy at the computer or whatever. He's like, your name? Han. What's your people's name? I don't have any people. Han. Solo. We'll call you Han Solo.
Because you're by yourself.
And that's it.
Really?
Yeah,
fucking hell.
That's
yeah, I would rather just never know it.
Yeah.
Why can't they just start the movie? It's like, oh, my name's Han Solo. Oh, got it. He's Han Solo.
In the movie, he directly references his parents. Somebody says, are you close with your father? And he says, not really. He doesn't say my dad's dead. He doesn't say I don't know my parents. He just says he's not really close with his dad. So he was born from something. He's not like fucking Anakin Skywalker, Jesus baby.
Yeah.
So he has parents. They could have just had it be his last name. It's just stupid.
Yeah.
I don't understand these movies where it's like, there's these cool side characters in movies, and that's all they're made to be, is just like a cool side character. And that's what Han Solo is. It's just like, oh, he's the badass off the side. He has a little arc in A New Hope and over Empire. And then like, okay, now we're going to give him a whole movie, and we're going to make you like identify him, and you can see him as a human being. And it's like, that doesn't make Han Solo cool anymore. You've ruined the mysticism and the awesomeness of Han Solo by making a whole movie about him. And they're going to do that with Lando, and they're going to do that with Boba Fett, and they're going to do that with everybody until they run out of characters. They're going to be at fucking Dexter Jettster and Jar Jar Binks. They're going to make movies about them.
Yeah.
There'll be a movie about the Rancor Keeper eventually.
Yeah.
Oh man, I want a Jabba film.
Yeah.
You could get it. You really honestly could, man.
Yeah. I want to know his
you could
story.
have a whole film with that slug.
At this point.
He was trying to cross the border, and he just came out of a Pizza Hut, and they're like, okay, Jabba the Hutt. There you go. We got it. And that's how he got his name.
Perfect. We should make one of those videos where we predict all the future movies.
Leave no stone unturned. Everything has to be explained. I saw the
Exactly.
movie by myself. Am I Adam Solo?
Oh.
All right, so I'll ask you guys something. If you were Disney right now, because you saw we were talking about superhero fatigue and how like it still hasn't worn out. Yet we're 4 years into Star Wars and it's already fatigued. So what would you do if you were the head of Disney and you had to fix this entire fucking franchise
People are still seeing
and
it.
save it? It's going down. Last Jedi made much less, and now this movie, people are saying it bombed. I don't think it did that bad, but it's
didn't
way
bomb, it just-
underperforming.
in comparison to the others, like it bombed.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I mean, they're going to make it back in merchandise anyway. People are still seeing them.
But it's a Star Wars movie that was released Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah, but
and
it's
it
very
barely
clearly-
broke 100 million.
It says in the title that it's a spin-off. It's like Solo, a Star Wars story. They're basically just saying, this one's not
Rogue One made
important.
more.
You don't have to watch it. And then the trailer looked very uninteresting and unimportant, so people didn't see it. That's why it happened. But they'll continue making money. People will see Episode 9.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
and
it's going.
Some people don't want to see Han Solo if it's not Harrison Ford. That too.
Yeah, that too.
Who knows?
But it's going. I think I'm of the opinion that it's just going downhill, and each one's making less and less because people are just kind of getting tired of it. So, I mean, if you think there's no issue, that's fine. We'll see where Disney and Star Wars is in 10 years.
I think like I know that they're trying to do an original trilogy with Rian Johnson that's like has nothing to do with the Skywalker family.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's something that needs to happen at some point because I said it back when Rogue One came out. I was like, I don't need to know this story. I don't care to know this story, and I certainly don't need to know what Han Solo was doing with Woody Harrelson on top of a train. So I want there to be. It's like the Star Wars galaxy is more than just this one group of people. It's like this whole other universe. I would love. This will never happen, but I want like a very independent feeling Star Wars movie that just takes place on one fucking planet the whole movie. They never go into space like even once. And you could just take any great script that's made out of an action movie, like with what they did with Die Hard with a Vengeance. That was another script called Simon Says. They changed all the characters, they changed the character names, they kept the same script, and they made a Die Hard movie. Make a great action movie on some random planet with brand new characters that we've never seen or heard from before. I mean, you could literally do anything. You have the rights to Star Wars. You could do anything.
But by not doing that, they've limited the universe down to just like it's always the same shit every time.
They could do that at any point still.
I guess they could, but they're proving time and time again that there isn't anything to it, really. There's the facade that there's something to it.
They have no idea how to write new characters.
Yeah, I blame bad management. I blame Kathleen Kennedy for that.
Woo!
Woo.
Holla!
Yeah, I think like they spent $4 billion or whatever it was to buy all that from George Lucas, and now they're just so concerned with making all their money back, even though I think they should be there already by now at this point.
Think about merchandising.
Yeah.
Don't even consider like the film's profits.
Yeah.
The merchandising alone, the fucking toys are gonna make the money back.
The
It doesn't matter.
Porgs didn't
T-shirts.
sell well. Porgs kind of underperformed as well.
Dude,
don't
they'll
like
have
Porgs.
a fucking Darth Maul fidget spinner and it'll be fine.
My roommate's a big fan of Star Wars, and he hates what Disney's done with it. But then I was explaining to him like what George Lucas did with it between the prequels and that fucking god-awful Star Wars Connect video game where you dance to like a Han Solo song that's a parody of what's that?
Riding solo. I'm Han Solo.
Riding Solo,
I'm
yeah.
Han Solo.
I'm Han Solo. The carbonite is gone. Moving on.
I worked at Best Buy when that was out. I was laughing my ass off at all the videos I got from people. Fuck. Everybody
become a
hated it.
meme.
It was on display.
Did you get to see people demoing it like all
Yeah,
day?
I played
that's great.
the what were they called? I don't know, the huge monster things. You got to like crush the city. I played that one. It was kind of fun because nobody was in the
awesome.
store anyway. I think we want to change topics pretty soon. Alex, did you have anything else to add about this Solo?
I'll just quickly give what I would do if I was the head of Disney. I'd want to make Star Wars an event again. So how about this? You have a trilogy every 10 years. Just leave it at that.
Fat chance.
I know that would never happen, but they could just have the hype cycle every time, and people would just lose their minds. and you could have way more time planning them, making them actually amazing films.
Yeah,
That's the thing. Everyone's worried about the money, like right this moment. But if they drag it out for a long time, Star Wars could last fucking hundreds of years.
Yeah, complete this new trilogy, then go dark for a bit. Give it time to gestate. Actually plan out what you're going to do with the future, and
That would be nice.
then proceed.
I agree with you. I think the problem is that they're not going to, because we live in this like real time news world where everything is right now. And like when I was a kid and there was and the prequels were one every 3 years, I remember thinking that was forever. And then when I watched the movies, they felt like it was forever as well.
Yeah.
But I mean, like with these, today we want everything right now, and we get a new superhero. We get 3 new superhero movies a year or something, and so they're trying to basically do that with Star Wars, and I don't think it's a good idea. I agree with you.
No. Yeah.
got him.
That's what makes it special. Got him. Hear that, Kathleen? Take her advice. We're 4 guys on the internet.
4 white guys on the internet.
Yeah.
Oh,
Let's
yeah,
make
I
that
don't want to
clear.
forget that. Don't want to forget that point.
Ralph, do you want to introduce the film recommendation of this episode, and also mention that people should watch it? I guess I just did.
Oh yes, you should watch it. But this is a spoiler discussion of the film Mommy. Oh, I typed it into Google and The Mummy came out. Not
let's
The
talk about
Mummy.
that instead.
Mommy. There we go. Yeah, we're gonna talk about The Mummy. Go see it. So it's a film that came out in 2014, directed by Xavier Dolan. It is a wonderful movie. We're gonna talk about it now. Spoilers.
Describe
So what'd you guys think of
the
it?
film.
Describe it. Oh, so I could. So there's the mom. There's a mom, and she's got a kid.
A mommy.
And the kid. There's a mommy, and the kid is like kind of unpredictable and violent, and it's just about their life, and that's it. I don't know how else to describe it. They meet like a girl who has a stammer, or what is it called?
Stutter.
Stutter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Speech
And that's
impediment.
Speech impediment. That's it. That's the movie.
Great explanation.
Yep.
Good
It
job.
really made it sound interesting.
What'd you
So
think?
what'd you guys think of Mommy?
It was good.
I thought it was great.
Good.
Yeah,
I'm glad.
I had never seen it before, and YMS. I'm just gonna call you YMS if that's
Sure.
okay. No, it's like whenever I talk to any of my buddies, I'm like, yeah, I talked to my buddy YMS. They're like, who? Sorry, Adam from YMS. And they're like, oh yeah, him. Okay. Anyway, you messaged me. You were like, don't try to fix your TV when the film starts because the aspect ratio is supposed to look like an iPhone. And I was like, okay. And it took like 5 minutes, but I started to forget about it. It started to. It was an adjustment, just like the son is also. He's a bit of an adjustment because he's so unlikable for a large portion of the movie. That it's something I really actually admired about it is that films nowadays, when you have a character like that, they try so hard to, as quick as possible, make you like them, even though they're really violent and rude, and like he's touching his mom's breasts and stuff, and you're like, okay, dude, like, take a couple steps back. But this film doesn't. It takes a long time before you kind of see under the surface and understand the nuances of his character, and you can kind of understand why he acts the way he does. And I really admired that about it, because I think writers are afraid to put characters like that in their scripts nowadays because they don't want people to think their movie's annoying or a character's annoying. But this movie lets that kind of drag on for a while, and I was impressed by that.
Yeah, it feels like a real person rather than a character with an agenda from the script. The script isn't necessarily being like, okay, here's what we definitely want the audience to feel at this point, so we'll tweak his character and have him do this here. Having like a little checklist. It was more organic than that, I felt.
Yeah.
Like it was a very strange character, a very unconventional character, very troubled character, but it still felt very real, very realistic of somebody with developmental issues and ADHD, et cetera, et cetera. Like this type of person does exist, and they are fucked up.
Absolutely.
And they are a handful, but you can understand
Definitely.
why the mother loves him in the end still. Even if part of the relationship is a bit manipulative in a sense, you can still empathize with it.
Yeah, throughout the whole thing, even though he's completely unlikable for a lot of it. You want to see him get better just because of how much. I think her name's Diane, the main woman, right?
Yeah.
Just how much
Yeah.
she loves him. Yeah.
Whatever.
Di, yeah, they call her Di too. Yeah, this is an excellent, excellent movie. I saw this in a theater, Adam. I don't know if you know.
Awesome. Me too.
And I was thinking the same thing. Like, did the projector fuck up? What's with the box on the side? What's with the letterbox? But no, it was excellent. And I don't know. I guess we can reveal why it is, why that happens. It's just for this one moment in the movie where things are finally looking up, and the main kid, what's his name? Steve?
Yes.
He pulls the boxes or the black bars off to the side. He just pulls it away, and you're like, wow, I feel so free and alive. And then the scene after, he goes back to his old routine of yelling at people and being rude, and just the black bars come back, and you're like, ah, fuck.
She gets served in the mail.
They do it a couple of times, don't they?
Yeah. It's not just for one moment, that's for sure.
But that's like that was the most effective moment. Yeah.
Well, every time they do it, it's strange that more films have not played around with aspect ratio. What was that film from last year? It Comes at Night? That did it a little bit. Yeah. That did a bit, and I thought that was really effective there too. But this one in particular actually had a true like emotional response from me with the work. It's just so effective. It's because it's something that's not done very often. And it really does like enrich everything about those moments. And then,
Yeah, I would disagree with the by you saying, Ralph, that it's just for one moment, because although that is the most important moment where it becomes incredibly clear what the film is going for and that it's directly associated with the emotions of the characters, I mean, it wouldn't work without the entirety of the film sort of desensitizing you and acclimatizing you to it. You know,
it builds it up really well. And it does it other times, but that was the one moment where it stuck out to me the most. Like, this is why it's here. And then immediately after, it closes back in, and you feel this fucking claustrophobic feeling when it comes back.
Exactly. Claustrophobia
and it makes you
is
so
exactly
uncomfortable.
what I would use to describe it.
Yeah, to me, it was almost like the mother, since, it's the title of the film, Mommy, and it focuses on her the most, and you feel kind of connected with her plight the most. It made it feel like she's trapped. She has no way out. And the black bars are literally trapping her in this life. She now has this court date because of something her son did. He's living with her now. She can't go to just one place for like a half hour without him causing some ruckus at home and eventually peeing on himself. And so she's just completely isolated. Has no real way out, and those brief moments where the aspect ratio shifts back to 16:9 are really powerful, because I was watching it last night, and I've never been blown away by an aspect ratio. But like the introduction of the aspect ratio, it just made me feel like I just connected exactly with what he was trying to communicate through his film. The characters had these moments where they felt freedom. They had these little fleeting moments, like he literally is on a cart screaming, "I'm free, I'm free," where he has like these brief little moments where they feel like the world's okay, and then she gets a letter in the mail, and hey, we're back to real life again.
Yeah. I feel like it is directly connected to Di's emotions specifically, because even in the second time it happens, it's within her daydream too. She's looking for that light at the end of the tunnel in her life, and she feels trapped, and she communicates this throughout the film too, very, very straightforwardly, if that's a word. Straightforwardly.
It could be.
When they're after the karaoke scene, and she's yelling about, she's like, "Oh, I have to take care of this little retard who pisses his pants and never get to do anything, blah blah blah," and it's like you see it all come out, and it's just so incredibly genuine and well done. I really love all of the acting in this movie. All three performances are the three probably best performances of the year, honestly, to me. It was insane.
I was pretty blown away by her as well, and Dorval. I started looking up what else she had done so I could watch what else she had done, because I also watched your review, Adam, from 2014, and I agree with what you were saying about how really no one really feels like a character. No one feels like they're written. It's almost like you're spying on real events, like documentary style, and it just feels so tangible. Like you could just walk into that room and probably talk with those characters. Or like you said, Ralph, it doesn't feel like the script is pushing or pulling them in any direction. It just it's happening, and we watch it happen, and those are the best types of movies to me. Is will I want to rewatch this movie every month? No, I mean it's there are scenes that are really hard
downer.
to get through. Yeah, it's a depressing movie sometimes. Something that I'm interested in hearing your guys' opinion of is, since we get that sequence where Di is sort of daydreaming about what could happen, and to me, as soon as she showed up with a brand new car, I was like, something's off here. Like, this doesn't make any sense. And then he gets into Juilliard and then he's getting married, and during that daydream, then it cuts back to her and she's sort of imagining it. At the end of the film, she's in her apartment having like a moment to herself, and then we see Steve escape out of his straitjacket and run for the door. Do you think she imagined that too?
No.
No, I don't think so either.
Okay.
Yeah,
No,
he
I
ran.
think so, yeah.
He ran for the window, and who the fuck knows what floor that was on? I like how ambiguous it was kind of left at the end. Like, is he gonna break through? Is he gonna die? Is he just gonna hit and fall over and look like a fucking idiot? You know.
Yeah, it was weirdly hopeful, even though logistically he would never get out of that situation. But like just that image of him running to the window, like, oh, he's free, even just for a moment.
That's what made me think it was a little ambiguous, was that it just felt so. It felt more hopeful than the rest of the film, I think. And since we were given a sequence where she does daydream what she wishes her son would do in that moment, it made me start to think that it could be that. But I think, like, if the aspect ratio had changed at that point back to wide again, then I would definitely say it's a daydream.
Yeah.
I didn't even really see it as that hopeful. It was very like bittersweet.
Since it doesn't, like, I think it's probably still happening, but it's an interesting way to look at it. Like, the ending has a lot more layers than it should, which I like.
Yeah. It was just a perfect ending. Because I'm like, how do you end a movie like this where it's so fucking miserable? And I think that's just the perfect way to end it.
There's one aspect of the movie that I'm not sure if I like or not. With the film opens with some text explaining, which I thought was quite strange, explaining that it's set in an alternate reality somewhat, where there's this certain law.
2015 fake Canada.
This really specific, hyper-specific law. I can't remember what it said specifically, but it was something to do with kind of mental health.
It was literally just to set up the ending. That's it. I agree with you there. It was unnecessary.
I agree with you. I didn't like it either. I was waiting for like some red words to come up that was like, and these are called replicants.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, is this Blade Runner? Like, what?
Yeah. You did not need that text at the beginning, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Very
it made it
unnecessary.
too predictable for me. Because it's like, well, we're just waiting for the scene where this happens then. It felt very odd to me. It reminded me of how in the film Annihilation at the beginning, it kind of spoils where it's going to end. And that does take a bit of the oomph out of the storytelling to me. We haven't talking about how...
That.
You didn't remember that?
The first time I saw it. No, the first time I saw it, I didn't remember that. And the thing is, if you cut out that text and still have that ending, it totally would have worked. I wouldn't have even doubted it. Like, oh, they're putting him in a mental hospital.
That's the thing. Like, it seemed unnecessary.
Like, you didn't even need it.
Oh, yeah. Did not need it whatsoever.
And see, like, I'm not even from Canada. I would have just been like, oh, that's some Canadian thing.
Those Canadians are crazy with their laws.
Yeah. I mean, it didn't have to be even set in... I guess they do reference, like, Montreal and Toronto, and they reference the Americans down south and stuff like that. So it is a very Canadian film. There's a bunch of Celine Dion in it. And I guess my one question would be, why was it set in 2015 Canada when there's literally nothing that attaches it to 2015? It could have been 2007 and all the phones would have fit. Yeah. But if you ask Xavier Dolan, he just says, no, I like flip phones. That's why they're in the movie. Like, he just likes flip phones. I don't know why he didn't set it in 2007. There was nothing 2015 about it.
Yeah.
Definitely a bold choice.
I think flip phones are more cinematic because you can like flip it shut, and like have like a good ending to the conversation. And there's something that allows, like with a flip phone, you can actually, and this is such a stupid thing to say, but I'm going to say it. With a flip phone, you can actually like kind of communicate how angry or how passive someone's feeling. Like if they close it slowly, if they slam it shut, they're mad. But like with a modern day smartphone, you just kind of like press it and it does stuff. It's not cinematic.
You could
Yeah,
fold your
I agree.
iPhone in half and it would be pretty cinematic.
Yeah.
Yes.
That'd be the ultimate end to a phone call in a movie, is just crushing your phone and folding it and then eating it.
Yeah. And then
We should make a movie like that. Whenever they end a phone call, they fucking just destroy their
In a
phone
completely
creative
serious
ways. Yeah, in a completely serious film. That'd
Yeah.
be great.
All right, Ralph, let's co-write a short film that's literally just a minute of like a phone conversation that's really fucking angry, and at the end he just eats his phone. That's just
Let's totally do it. I'm on board. Let's go. Earlier, Alex, I cut you off when you were saying something. So.
Yeah, I'm surprised none of us have brought up just how unbelievably gorgeous the film is. Like,
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Very well shot.
It's got this autumnal kind of soft, warm presentation. You know, it's
So
like
well directed.
lots of yellows, oranges, and blues.
Yes.
Which, it was just unbelievably gorgeous.
I was gonna say Xavier Dolan, who wrote this as well, which is amazing. He was like 25 when he made this.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Which is fucking fantastic. And like apparently he got
Nuts.
into Cannes when he was like 19 or 20
Yeah.
with his first movie, I Killed My Mother. I think that's what it's called.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
Yeah. So this is an immensely talented guy, and yeah, this movie
Prodigy.
goes to show he gets better and better. Yeah. A child
I
prodigy.
saw a few of his earlier films, and it was clear that he was like experimenting a lot with colors and really alternative ways of presenting movies too. Like he's very creative. He likes to do things a little bit differently. He even actually fucked with the aspect ratio in the film previous to Mommy called Tom at the Farm in a more subtle way. Honestly, pretty much identically to It Comes at Night. So
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was looking up other films that did that after I saw It Comes at Night, and I saw the scene from that movie where the guy's got him in like a headlock and the bars start to come down on him. And I'm like, that really is exactly what Trey Edward Schultz did. And he was like at festivals talking about how he came up with this idea, and I just kind of wanted to be like, someone else already did it like in the exact same way.
Nobody watches
what a
Canadian
hack.
movies.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. You mentioned, Alex, about the color. I totally agree with you, because I think a less experienced director would take a movie that's depressing like this and that's so dour and that's, it's a tough watch, and they would be like, well, this has to be desaturated, this has to be gray, this has to be cold. But really the entire film is really warm orange colors, and like the sunlight streaming in through the windows. You sense the breeze coming in sometimes when they're in the kitchen. It's I think the perfect answer whenever someone says that is, no, look at Mommy. I mean, that's a very dark film, very depressing film, and the whole film looks bright. You don't have to think that colors change necessarily just based on your characters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, but then you have to put effort into the characters and the acting, and you can't just use the color palette as a crutch just to clue into the audience that it's supposed to
Yeah,
be
exactly.
sad. You know?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, and that's what a less experienced director would do. They'd be like, well, we'll desaturate it and it'll be dark. It's like, no, that's not how
I'm
it works.
telling you it's sad, and you're supposed to feel sad.
Exactly.
Look how blue it is. It's sad.
See? It's a sad movie.
How did you guys feel about Wonderwall being in it?
The whole soundtrack, honestly. My roommate felt a little distracted by it. And
I was.
I got the impression
I
that a
was
lot
too.
of people get distracted by the soundtrack. Is something
So
that I
is it
hear
supposed to
online.
be the playlist his father made for him?
I could eventually freeze the frame on the moment where he shows the CD and you can see the track listing, and perhaps it would be there. But either way, I feel like even if it's not literally that, I feel like it's that in a symbolic way. Like Dolan, from what I understand, he doesn't do this with every movie. I've never seen another movie from him where he has this constant nostalgic hit playlist going along with every scene in the film. I feel like that's very much unique to this movie. And I don't know if you guys noticed this, but pretty much every single song the lyrics perfectly describe what the characters are going through and their emotions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, even from the opening scene with Di deciding that she's going to look after her son, you know, I won't put my flag up and surrender, blah, blah, blah. Like, all the lyrics match perfectly to what's being shown. And I would have to assume that the film was written around the soundtrack, in a sense, where
I think it
was
was.
too.
I
in
think
mind
it
with
was
the
because
script.
the song Wonderwall actually, like it begins right after Steve coughs.
Mhm.
Like she turns around, she winks at him, and he coughs. And that is exactly what happens on the actual Wonderwall album. Like there's actually
Oh
a cough
shit!
sound. There's a cough
Hmm.
sound that precedes
That's kind of
what he's
interesting.
saying.
Oh,
And
that's
I
cool.
thought I remembered that. I thought I remembered that while watching it, and just to confirm, I looked it up online, and yeah, that is true. So I do think he, like way before they even shot this movie, he knew he wanted Wonderwall there for some reason.
Hmm.
Mm.
Yeah, I didn't
Savi's a
feel
genius.
distracted by the soundtrack. It does make it feel very unique to me. I don't feel off put by it at all, but I can understand why that would happen to some people, I guess.
I saw it as like a cultural thing, like it's a different country or different language or whatever. So for them, it's not as distracting. But
I don't know
I
if
don't
I
know.
agree with
It
that.
didn't bother me that much. I was just trying to justify it.
I think French Canada was just as aware of all of those hits as the rest of Canada.
Yes, I'm aware. Well, when I saw it, I didn't know anything about it. I just assumed, oh, it's French. It's a French movie. It could be from France. I don't fucking know.
They actually put French subtitles in for the Cannes release of this film because French Canadian accent is so very different than the actual French accent. It's like
Really?
if French had a Southern accent. Like French people hate the French Canadian accent. They think it
Got it.
sounds disgusting. They hate it.
Wow.
For God's sake.
Yeah.
Don't you think the film, every frame kind of looks like the kind of pictures you'd see hanging in a trendy coffee shop somewhere, you know? Like you could take any frame from the movie. And
Yeah.
that's just what I kept
I
thinking
can
of.
see that, yeah. Yeah,
I can
you're right.
totally see that. It's actually interesting.
It has that kind
I
of
would like
personality.
I would like Criterion to release. I'm not sure if Criterion has released a Blu-ray, but if they haven't, I want that to be the quote on the back of it.
Mhm.
I just wanted to say Alex says that every shot looks like a trendy coffee shop. Fix- I agree with you
I
though.
hate
Like,
everything.
You could scroll to a random frame, print it out, and hang it up, and
yeah,
it, would look,
it does
would
feel
look nice
very
on the wall.
picturesque.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the framing was so unique just because of that aspect ratio. You have to frame everything differently, and again, that adds to that kind of coffee shop photos hanging on a wall feel that I loved about it.
Yeah.
Did you know that it's actually not taller than it is wide? It's a perfect square 1:1
Yeah.
aspect ratio.
I was reading
Perfect
that, yeah.
square.
Yeah.
Perfect
And I really enjoyed the moments where you could tell the way that the shot was set up and the framing was aware of it. They didn't just crop it after the fact. Like there's very specific key moments where it makes sense, like the microwave shot where it says hell and then it says hello. You know, like
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
the film itself and the way that it's presenting this in a claustrophobic sense, it's turning her reality into something that is hell when, you know, microwave saying hello, but you're seeing hell and you're not seeing the full picture because you're stuck in this claustrophobic environment, this depression. I feel like that kind of highlights it very well, just that one shot. And it happens a few times, like even the shot at the end where he's on the phone and he's like, I'm so fucking high right now, and when he's in the straitjacket, and you see in the wider shot that it's not his hand holding up the phone. But if that
Yeah.
were a wide angle, if you didn't have the bars on the side, you would already know that. You know,
Yeah,
it makes
I
the
actually
reveal
said like out
more interesting.
when it cut to that wide of him in the straitjacket, I actually like out loud said, "Wow!" Like that was a really it hit me, because I love when directors can just cut to a wide and you understand everything.
Mhm.
It's one shot. It's not even moving. It's not dollying. It's nothing. It's just a static wide shot, and in this case, a static square shot, and you understand exactly what he wants you to know. I looked up the director because I really wanted to watch more of his films, and I realized that I've actually seen him before as an actor.
Oh,
a few
yeah.
times.
Yeah.
I just like a month ago, I watched this great fucked up movie called Martyrs,
Yes.
and he is in that film. And if you haven't
Yeah.
seen it, I won't ruin what happens. But
Opening
I
scene,
was
pretty
like,
much.
yeah, I was like, damn, that kid. Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah. Dinner
So,
table.
oh my God, I loved that scene so much, Adam. Like that blew me away. It kind of changed the way I look at violence in movies.
Oh, awesome. Glad to hear. Alex and Ralph, have you seen Martyrs?
No, I
No.
haven't.
Wow. Okay. I'll keep that in mind.
Next,
Yeah.
Hey,
I might
we'll be
do
watching it soon.
I'll tell you
I might
this,
do
just
that.
like as a warning, like if you thought Mommy was depressing, like after Martyrs, I literally started searching Netflix for like children's animation shows.
Yeah. Yeah, don't look up anything about it, is all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, Adam
Yeah.
shows us some
Look up
pretty depressing
nothing.
movies.
Yeah, I didn't think
Just
it was
watched
that
a movie about
depressing
dogfighting. Yeah.
compared to that one. This is England is incredibly depressing.
House
Dancing in the Dark.
It was just a fucking nightmare.
So, Alex, you said you found the music, like, distracting?
I think what it is when you use such famous songs, or just any quite popular song, chances are you're gonna have or maybe have some kind of personal relationship with the song, some memories attached to the song. So if there's something I associate with a certain part of my life, or with something else, or like just a drunk person I know singing it on his acoustic guitar, I don't want to be reminded of that
Yeah.
when watching a movie. I prefer when it's a little more, I don't know if subtle would be the right word, or just more.
You don't connect it with a previous experience which would take you out of the film.
But it's like, it's anything that can be attached to any sort of meme or kind of culture like that. It pulls me out for a second. I thought the scene was still fine. It didn't ruin the film for me or anything, but the thought was there, was all.
And you only experienced that with Wonderwall, none of the other songs?
I did a bit. I don't know. There's something quite particular about the music to me, which seemed a little bit off and I don't know, slightly on the nose for my liking. Yeah, it didn't ruin the film for me or anything, but it did pull me out for just a second.
Cool.
Well, you're wrong.
Okay.
I would say in most movies, I would agree with you, but this is a movie that kind of owns it. There was a film that I watched recently. I think I was watching it on the plane. I think it was All the Money in the World, it might have been, where they kept using all these songs that I'd heard way too many times before, but it was clearly not part of the point. I don't know if it was that movie or not.
Yeah.
I can't remember which one.
I think that's what it was. It's just, are they really using? Yeah. Okay, they're making it work, but it's just there's that initial doubt.
Yeah, I feel like this kind of owns it better. I feel like it's
For
different when it's clearly just on a checklist of songs that have been used in movies before that we need to use in a movie because this is how you make a movie and this is the track list you're supposed to have. Whereas this felt more like a personal playlist from Xavier Dolan,
Right. I'm waiting for like a Vietnam War movie to come out that doesn't have Creedence Clearwater Revival's Fortunate Son.
Doesn't have Rolling Stones music.
Yeah,
Oh my
like
God.
I totally agree with you, Adam, because like so many times I see these movies, it's almost like the filmmakers pick songs because they can't think of anything else. Like that's the song that we will put here and we can get the rights to it. So that is something I kind of liked about this movie was even though like my wife was in the next room and I was watching it and she was like, "Is that Oasis?" Yeah, it is in this French film.
That was my
that's
reaction.
Shot like a square.
It's about the square.
Yeah, a lot of these directors use it too, like the music just to set the time period, and it's always like, oh, so you're gonna just play 70s music, or when it's Vietnam, they play again, like you said, Creedence Clearwater and Rolling Stones. It's annoying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I like what Tarantino does with it, where he just fucking plays wherever he wants. Like Django Unchained, there's like rap music in the background, just like stuff that doesn't fit the period at all, but it's interesting.
Yeah, or like in The Hateful Eight, he actually like reused old music from one of Ennio Morricone's forgotten cues from the thing that Carpenter rejected. I love when he does stuff like that. And I feel like
That's cool.
rarely does like directors have that kind of clout where they can be like, hey, can I use the score from your movie and just put it in because it's what I do. I really like that
Yeah.
though, because it lets you kind of craft a scene in your head while you're listening to the music before you even shoot it, which I think he does a lot. And I don't know, I clearly like is it Dolan?
Well,
Dolan?
you know,
Dolan?
It's
I
Dolan,
thought
I
it
think.
was Dolan, but some people corrected me saying it is Dolan, and I was saying Dolan as
Okay.
a joke, but it is, I
Okay.
guess. I don't know,
Okay.
but I'm pretty sure it's Xavier.
I think he definitely was listening to a lot of those songs way before he even shot the film, especially because it has that cough moment in there, just like on the album. So
Yeah.
I think he was ahead of the curve a little bit.
Although I agree with you, Alex, it being distracting, I wouldn't take away points from the movie for it. Just
Yeah,
'cause
same.
it's like when Tarantino uses it. It's distracting, but it's interesting, and you're like, all right, I
Yeah.
do like that decision.
It does work ultimately.
Yeah.
What did you guys think of the song that was playing during the dream sequence?
I don't.
That was orchestral, right?
It was, but it's actually not. It wasn't scored for the film. It is I mentioned this composer before. It's the same composer from This Is England, actually, Ludovico Einaudi, and the track is called Experience. And although this film is one where I think I heard it for the first time in this film, I'm pretty sure. No, I don't remember if I heard his album beforehand. Either way, this was the first time I'd heard it used in other media, and now at this point, it's being used in like a lot of car commercials and shit. So it might reach a point where, unfortunately, it gets bastardized. But we actually have a clip from Ludovico Einaudi right now. If you haven't heard some of his material before,
Oh, here we go. I knew it was coming.
sorry, what do you want to say,
Man, Ludovico.
True talent.
Chris?
You
Chris,
know,
you were saying
I
something.
had thought that no, I'm sorry. I didn't want to interrupt that amazing moment just now. I had thought I had heard it before, and now that you mentioned that it's in car commercials, that's probably where I've heard it.
Yeah.
I was actually humming it after that scene because I thought it was so beautiful.
Hmm.
So I loved it.
Good composer.
Yeah, he is.
Is there
I don't think there's
anything
anything
else
else to say
you
about
would like
Mommy.
to mention?
I think we all loved it.
It's just
I
really
guess I
solid.
feel like we should mention that, like, something about, like, what do you think his motivation for kissing his mother was?
While kissing
Like-
his hand on his mother's.
No,
I think,
no. There's a
No,
scene where he
he's-
literally
yeah.
kisses her.
I'm trying to remember.
Like,
Um,
he's
just
he
weird.
full on just kisses her for a few
yeah,
seconds.
he's
Yeah.
a
He loves his mom.
developmentally challenged child for sure, and he doesn't
Definitely, but,
understand
like-
boundaries. That's for sure.
Definitely, but I think it was a little beyond that too, because he looks in her eyes and he's like, some people do fall out of love, but I'll never do that with you. I'll always be there for you. And then he just leans in like this really passionate, creepy kiss, and she just walks away. And her expression, like, to me, I could be overthinking this, but her expression, she didn't seem that surprised by it.
Yeah.
It's almost like she was just kind of waiting for it to inevitably happen, like she knew it would eventually happen one day. So I feel like there's a little bit more than maternal love for him in his head for her.
I think that they have a very atypical relationship that, goes further towards sexual than most mother-child relationships would, but I
Yeah.
don't think that
I
it
got that
is actually sexual for them. I think that they are just very kind of like free spirits in a way, and even if something looks really
Yeah.
fucked up to the rest of the world, they don't give a shit sort of thing, and they know their own relationship. I don't think they're fucking, if that's...
No, I don't think so either. I don't think so either, but I do think that if she hadn't put him in that home, that eventually he might have tried.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
who knows?
that could have happened, but that could have been a motivation too for also why she put him there.
Yeah. There are fucked up people that do rape their mothers. Stories come out like that every once in a while. So who the fuck
Now I
knows?
gotta rewatch this movie with that in mind.
Mm.
That's an interesting observation. I mean, I was thinking that, but I just always took it as he kind of confuses sexual love with how you love your mother, a more maternal,
Yeah.
caring love like that. I never thought of it as like, oh, they might have some side action going on.
I don't think they do. There's definitely
But it
like
coulda
a
led to that, yeah.
major- there's a major jealousy aspect too when they go to the karaoke club and she's
Oh,
trying to
yeah.
impress that lawyer who just wants to get he thinks just wants to get in her pants, and that really sets him off. So there's definitely a very controlling aspect to the way he views his mom's
Oh, yeah.
sexuality or what she might do outside of home.
He's manipulative for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would you guys give it out of 10 or out of A through F or out of stars?
I'd give it no, I'd give it an 8.5 out of 10.
Mm-hmm. What would you give it on your scale?
Probably like an A minus. A.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I'd probably give it a 4 out of 5.
Nice.
4. Really?
Yeah.
I gotta go 5. I mean, this is one of the most moving films I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta be. I mean, I kind of undersold it here because we were all talking about all these different elements, like how great the direction was and all that. But yeah, this is a really powerful movie for me.
See, now we can really argue because we all just gave it a grade, so now we
Yeah.
can really argue.
Yeah, exactly.
I would give it a
That's what separates us.
9 out of 10.
9.
Yeah. Like
How
Hitler.
dare you not think it's perfect? Like Hitler. Okay.
9!
9! Well, I'm glad you all liked Mommy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought it was
Here.
really good.
Mummy,
The Mummy.
as we say over here.
The
I loved
Mommy
Mommy
with
starring
Tom Cruise.
Yeah,
Wait.
yeah, exactly.
Alex, I wanted to ask you something. How do you pronounce yogurt in your country? Because I heard Gordon Ramsay say it, and he
Yogurt.
said yogurt. Yogurt? Oh my god,
Yogurt,
what the
yeah.
fuck is wrong with you people? Yogurt?
Greek yogurt, yeah.
Oh my god, it's yogurt.
How do you pronounce aluminum?
Jaguar.
I'm gonna find words for you every week and just give them to you.
Jaguar.
I just want to see how you... Jaguar?
No, you pronounce
Yeah.
it.
Jesus
You pronounce
Christ.
it Jenkum.
Jenkum.
We gotta start selling Jenkum t-shirts because I know like at least
jeez.
100 people will buy it the first day.
Yeah.
We have like a whole sub-community of just Jenkum fans.
They're obsessed.
We've got that market on hold because no one else is taking it yet.
You guys want to do some questions?
Of course. Alex, do you want to
Oh,
start?
yeah. Damn straight.
Oh, you ask them on Reddit, by the way. Just so,
Oh, yeah,
in
of
case
course.
you don't know.
Yeah, go to the Sardonicast Reddit. And I actually went through every single question this time. Because
Ooh.
I'm that obsessed. I was really wanting to comb for good ones.
Loser.
This is one from Frame Genius, who asks, which movies in the most recent years do you think will be considered classics in the future? I'll start so you guys have a bit of thinking time. But I think Blade Runner 2049 will be remembered as a classic in years to come.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Sorry.
That's guaranteed.
I can't remember the last time I saw a movie that long, 2 times in a row in such quick succession without getting bored. And
I know.
I mean, every fucking goddamn shot in that movie is perfect. Like it's even beyond the aesthetics. I've never seen a sequel come out with that much time in between the previous one and with a film that's already regarded as a classic and still somehow be that good. So, yeah, I agree with you, man.
Yeah. I liked it. I like Blade Runner a lot. Yeah, see, we're all wrong
Definitely
sometimes.
going to be a classic.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a classic, yeah. I don't consider it one, but yeah, I really liked it. How far back are we allowed to go in terms of recent? Like 5
Well,
years?
They didn't say, but they just said recent. Yeah.
Yeah, I
recent,
mean,
so
like, No Country for Old Men's already a classic. Can we
Yeah,
agree on
like
that?
that's-
So, like, 10 years is too much.
Uh-huh. I would say Social Network's a classic already. Like, that would be
Nah.
my go-to.
Is it?
That's like...
I guess
yeah,
so.
I think so.
I just-
That's
I
like
don't
a
know if I-
generation-defining movie. That's that's about my generation.
I guess so.
It's an amazing film. But
Yeah,
I don't know if
guess-
that would be my answer.
I think like how do we define it? Are we defining the way like, the academic community views a classic or like the way, like for instance, my generation views The Sandlot as a classic, but you're not going to see The Sandlot show up on Sight and Sound's best of list or something,
Mm-hmm.
So like are we talking like, the way people adopt movies like The Big Lebowski, for instance, and kind of turn them into something else, or just sort of like, a Vertigo or a Psycho, like a Seven Samurai type thing.
Time
Like,
will
what are
tell.
we-
Exactly.
Yeah.
It'll be clear what's a classic when it is one.
There's genre
Right.
classics too. Like, oh, if you want to see a good action movie, you have to see the 2 Raid movies. I could see people like 20 years from now going, you have to see the Raid 1 and the Raid 2. It's like those are fucking peak best.
There's a
action
movie
movies to
for
come out
me
in a long
that's-
time.
I agree. There's a movie for me that's improved over time. It's only 13 years old. But V for Vendetta, the first time I saw V for Vendetta, I thought it was fine. And over the years, like the political subtext has become more relevant with each passing year. The way
Yeah.
it explores terrorism and the way we view terrorism. And what's so impressive about it is it came out just like 4 or 5 years after 9/11, and that was still kind of like a fresh bruise, really. And they had the balls to talk about it and sort of show a terrorist in a sympathetic light. And I think that movie has improved over time. And I feel like that film will be sort of one that people talk about a lot more in the future.
Yeah, I think so too. It's amazing. I saw that movie like 2 years ago, and I was shocked how relevant it was because I had never
Yeah.
seen it beforehand. I was like,
Yeah.
wow, this is aged very well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's some things that aren't so great about it, but like,
Yeah, no.
really good movie still. I mean, we could count Mad Max Fury Road too.
Yeah, I
think
was about
that'll
to
be
say.
I was
considered
gonna
a
say
classic.
that. I was gonna say that.
just
Like
this,
that's
a masterful piece of filmmaking.
yeah. I was gonna say that too.
Yeah.
The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
The Dark Knight's the best superhero movie ever.
That's
Nothing
that's
comes
10
close.
Years ago. That's 10 years ago now.
Yeah.
God,
That's
it is,
already a
isn't it?
classic.
I would argue like any Villeneuve movie, like Arrival, Prisoners, like those
Prisoners.
people are going to consider those classics for sure.
You think so? I don't.
I think
Is it
Prisoners,
it's
yes.
Villeneuve.
Maybe. I think Prisoners, yes. Maybe not Arrival. I think Arrival's amazing, but I
Yeah.
feel
Yeah, I
like
think so.
I feel like it bores a lot of people.
Yeah, I think
Um,
Arrival's amazing too. I still don't think it's like a classic, amazing movie. Villeneuve's one of those guys. I like all of his movies. I just don't love any of them.
I think Prisoners is like one of the best purely dark dramas I've seen in a long time. It's still my favorite movie of 2013.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean, I think that I feel like critics are afraid to admit that movies age or that movies aren't as good on rewatch because they're so like hoity-toity about their grades and stuff. But like that changes all the time. Like you can watch a movie that came out 5 years ago and be like, oh, this just doesn't hit me the way it does back then. But Prisoners, I think, has maintained itself really well.
100% definite classic. Whiplash. For
Yes.
sure.
Yeah,
Whiplash,
definitely.
guaranteed. Test of time, guaranteed. No question. I'm right. You're all wrong. Suck it.
No, I agree with you, man.
No one's
There's a-
disagreeing.
I was
talking to our listeners. They're
Oh,
Like
idiots.
the movie came out and it made like $10 million in the box office, and then by the end of that year, everyone had seen it that I knew. Like a
Yeah.
fuck ton of people have seen Whiplash and
Yeah.
just adore it. I think Drive is one of those too.
Drive
Drive's a little older.
for sure.
Drive is like the film student answer. Like everyone's got a Drive poster on their wall in a film school. It's like the new Pulp Fiction.
One more answer for classics. Her by Spike Jonze. For
Yes,
sure. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
that's
People consider
It's a
that as a
great
classic.
sci-fi movie.
If I don't think it's been long enough for people to already consider it that, but I think people will for sure.
yeah. It's gonna be one of those like 2001, where like 30 years from now, we're basically gonna be living in that society, and they're gonna be
Yeah.
like, "Wow, her predicted all of this. That's amazing."
I already date my phone though, so
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
there you go.
it's
Me too.
Oh,
I think
nice.
we all do.
yeah, it's the emoji app,
Yeah. Emoji.
Nice.
the emoji movie app.
I
I'm
have
in
a
an intimate
question.
relationship with the emoji movie.
What is it, Ralph?
Oh yeah. That's interesting, Adam. So I have a question from Caillou B. Derewski. That's his
Yeah,
name.
I
I don't know
know
what
that
you. Since Stuckmann is quite an avid anime fan, what's your favorite animated movie that's from Japan? For all of you.
Favorite animated film from Japan?
Yeah.
Shit, man. I mean, it's a cliche, but I gotta go with Hayao Miyazaki's films. Probably Spirited Away.
God damn,
Yeah.
that was mine.
I feel like Spirited Away is a movie you can show anyone, even if they've never watched anime before, and they're just blown
Of
away
course.
by it. Yeah,
Won the
I think
Oscar.
it's a masterpiece. Yeah, it's a masterpiece.
Yeah, I've never seen a single one of his films, and I really need to.
Hey,
I don't
Never.
start with that one because that will start you too high, and then every one you watch after that you won't like as much.
Yeah, should I start with Ponyo?
Ugh.
No, that's one of his worst. That's one of his
And they'll
worst.
all get better.
Exactly. Yeah, so
Yeah.
it'll go up from there.
I guess, yeah, but then you might not want to watch anymore after
Yeah,
that.
that's true.
So, Ponyo was actually my first movie review, by the way.
Really?
What?
Oh,
Yeah.
that's so... Oh, we gotta
Yeah.
track that down. That's going on the road.
Wow.
It's not on the internet anymore, unfortunately. That was on my
Oh,
first channel.
someone will find it.
Someone will find it, yeah. That was on my first channel. But no, if you were to see one, maybe check out like Kiki's Delivery Service or My Neighbor Totoro first. And if you like
Yeah.
that, then progress to Spirited Away.
Yeah,
I bet I'll
I don't
like
know if
them.
I
At
agree with
most,
that.
I will appreciate it too.
I would
What do you
say,
think, Adam?
I mean, you could watch Spirited Away and Princess Mononoke, and you know, if you want to continue, you know, looking up his other films, I don't think there's anything wrong with seeing the best ones first.
Yeah, there isn't. I want him to like it. That's all.
Oh, I probably will.
Okay.
Alex, you had the same answer. Talk a little bit about it.
Yeah, Spirited Away. I haven't seen it for a while, but I was obsessed with that film
It's
when
great.
I was a bit younger. Yeah, it's really good. I also really like Howl's Moving Castle. I know
Yeah.
it's not held in the same regard, but that was another one. I haven't seen it for a while, but that was definitely like a childhood movie for me that I really
Definitely. That's my wife's
really
favorite
liked.
too. She loves
Yeah.
that film. I think it's
Yeah.
magnificent.
All-time favorite anime, Cory in the House.
Damn it. No one mentioned
Oh.
Akira.
Well, you know why? Because I haven't seen it.
Oh,
And
you
I've
haven't
been
seen
meaning,
it?
you know-
That's my answer. Is Akira.
Okay, great. Yeah, there were people in the subreddit saying we should see it, and I was almost thinking of picking it, even though I've never seen it, because I know I'm supposed to like it, sort of thing. You know,
It's great. It's
It
wonderful.
is. It's fucking awesome.
I have a
Yeah.
Blu-ray, but I
It's
haven't
so
watched
cool.
it yet.
Yeah,
I had
very
never
cool.
seen anime prior to college, and I met this group of friends who watches it all the time. We watched one anime where it started as like a political drama, and by the last episode, it was like they were in hell fighting Satan, and Satan was just like fucking killing people and having sex with everyone. It was crazy. And then they showed me Akira, and it was like the coolest fucking movie I've ever seen. It was motorcycles and explosions. The end of the movie with just this apocalyptic event. Epic
It's all
filmmaking.
hand drawn too, man. That's the
It's
most
all
impressive
hand drawn,
part.
and the use of light in it was excellent.
Mm-hmm.
I know this. I'm not a big animation guy, so I don't study it as much. But I saw videos on it, like how they used light in interesting ways in an animated film. Yeah, I love that movie.
Yeah, I still need to. I still need to see more animes. You know,
Yeah,
that's how you pronounce it. Shut up.
Yeah, it is.
Anime. Yeah, I would have to say probably Spirited Away or Mononoke, but yeah, it's just I haven't broadened my horizons so much. I've seen quite a few, just not I guess a lot that I've really
if you want to
loved.
see,
Yeah.
if you want to see a great movie that's an anime feature film that is not Hayao Miyazaki, ignore the title. It sounds generic as fuck. It's called Vampire Hunter D: Bloodlust. It's amazing. I'm
sounds
serious.
like a porno.
I know it does. Ignore the title. It's fucking incredible. It's violent. It has just. It's amazing. I highly suggest it.
Definitely gonna
Amazing.
watch
A
that
great
one.
soundtrack too. And I know Adam, you love to pay attention to the soundtracks. So
Yeah, boy.
yeah, definitely check that one out.
Gotta hunt that D.
Look for the D.
Oh my god.
There's a game called D4 where the main character is looking for the D the whole game.
Okay, I'm not even kidding. I was watching, what was it? Somebody showed this to one of my friends. I think it was an old episode of like, Are You Afraid of the Dark or something? And there's a character named D, like D-E-E. And there's like a little 12-year-old boy who's like, I'm looking for D? Excuse me, I'm looking for D? And it's just, he does that for like a whole scene, and my
Oh, no.
very immature brain thought that was hilarious.
Yeah.
Same thing in Sleepless. Jamie Foxx, his wife's name is D. He's like, what are you doing, D? You gotta find D. And his son's name's T. So he's finding
Hey man,
D and T.
it ain't no crap. It ain't
They
no
got
crap.
T.
Snatch and grab
Easy
job,
grab.
right?
Yeah, you ain't no easy grab. They got T.
Dude, Ralph, do you even know the impact you have, like, with that? Like, if you go to the IMDb page for Sleep, I actually looked at the, like, The only quote listed for Sleepless is that.
Yes! I didn't know that! Man, I'm a meme generator. I'm so
It's fucking
proud.
great, dude.
A memeologist.
Alex, I think Alex has another question, and you want to cut it off there? Because we're running long.
We can end on this
All right,
this one
perfect.
from Yunky101, who says, simple. What are your favorite title sequences? I feel like creative ones are really
Enter the
fun
Void!
and can play into the movie.
Enter the Void! That was mine.
Yeah?
It's
That's why I
so
shouted
great
it, is
and
because I
simple.
needed to say it first.
Yeah, exactly. Dude, the logic behind that was Gaspar Noé thought the movie was really long already, so he's like, let me make the title sequence really just fast. And it was just fucking, a minute long? It was awesome. I highly recommend you check out this Into the Void title sequence. It's on YouTube if you haven't seen it.
It's so good. Old Boy has some great opening titles. The Clock.
Yeah, James Bond movies have some great ones.
I was gonna say most of the James Casino Royale is one of my favorites. Skyfall. I love the opening to Psycho, of course, Alfred Hitchcock's original Psycho, because that just set the tone for the movie. You know, I mean, like with Bernard Herrmann's score. I know this is one people mention a lot, but with Bernard Herrmann's themes in the background, it just lets you know that at some point in the film, that level of intensity is going to happen. And you're just, the film starts and you're waiting for that to happen. You're in this mode of tension for throughout the entire film until that first kill. And yeah, Bernard Herrmann's Psycho, main titles, great stuff.
Itchy the
Mine would
Killer
be-
has a pretty good one. Sorry.
Mine would be Alien. I really
Nice.
like the
Oh,
the
that's
opening.
a great one.
Yeah, just slowly
That's a really
revealing
good
the
one.
text. It's like really drags out, but it really sets the tone and the atmosphere.
If you want to have a nice little arc for this whole podcast, the first Deadpool has really great main titles that I've always liked.
Yeah. I thought the
I don't
second
even
one
remember.
was pretty funny, too. It was
It's
a
where,
parody
like-
of Spectre. which was
Yeah,
dope.
it's where like the credits are like, shot by some hack,
Yeah.
written by the real heroes, and it's like a slow-mo car turning over and he's like shooting people in the face.
Yeah.
Funny
That's a
games.
great one. Oh, yeah.
yeah.
That's a great one.
Yeah.
So
They
good.
listen to classical music and they play some, like, hard rock or something.
Well, they
like
don't. The movie
Screamo.
does.
Yeah,
the
the
movie's
movie does.
infiltrating their lives.
Yeah, interesting. Star Wars. I mean, that's a
Oh,
classic.
yeah, of course.
Da, 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 da. Scott Pilgrim vs. the World.
Yep.
That's another one.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
Mm.
Oh, fuck. How could I forget? Seven has amazing
yeah.
opening titles.
Oh, yes! That's a good one. The Shining? Oh, I
Yeah.
just remember that now. A lot of Kubrick's. Yeah.
Run Lola
Alright.
Run.
Run Lola Run. Girl Dragon Tattoo, speaking of Fincher.
Yeah.
Sure.
That's a great one.
There's
It's kind
tons.
of like it's a James Bond opening, but fucked up. And that was it.
We could just list a
Anything
million.
else? Yeah, we could just go on and
We
on.
could go on forever.
Some good choices
All
there,
right.
boys.
Well, we
Yeah,
did it.
Good job,
we did
everybody.
it, boys.
We did it.
Great job.
All right, bye, everybody.
Wait.
I feel initiated into your club.
Oh, good.
This club
Please
has
come back sometime.
5 members.
Can I be a part of your club?
Yes.
If you want.
Yeah.
But you have to say a
Yeah.
prayer.
We
to
gotta
Cool
work
Cat.
out the contracts.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'm happy.
Alex, you had a film that you wanted to recommend,
I
correct?
certainly do.
For next episode.
I was torn between two. It was between a good film or one to torture you guys with, and I've chosen to do a good one. So
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I've chosen the Coen Brothers movie, The Man Who Wasn't There. I don't know
Thank
if you guys
you.
have seen it or not. Have you guys seen it?
Nice. Yeah, haven't seen it
No.
yet.
You haven't?
Wow.
Okay, that's good.
We've
Right,
keep
nice.
them going.
That's a
I'm on a
great
roll with
choice.
these.
Awesome.
Yeah,
I have not seen that either. Now I feel like it.
really.
Oh.
You can watch it
Well,
before
Yeah, you
the
can't
next
discuss it with
episode.
us next week.
listen to what
yeah, you can
say.
listen to us talk about it and leave a comment.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one no one really seems to talk about for some reason. So
Yeah,
it should be
that's
good to dive into.
Awesome. Nice.
Thank
That's on
you.
Criterion, right? Is it?
Don't know. Don't have it here, mate.
All right. Well, if you had a region-free Blu-ray player, then you could.
I just buy it on iTunes. It's fine.
Yeah, this is true. All right. Well,
Just
everybody,
torrent it.
everybody listening,
Sorry.
if you want to participate in the discussion for next episode, go watch the fucking movie because we're gonna spoil the shit out of it when we talk about it in next episode. thank you all for listening. If you want to support the podcast, subscribe to our YouTube channels. Check out Chris Stuckmann, Get Stuckmanized. Hey, come on. you did that, not me.
I know.
That was your thing. You started it. Yeah, some of us have Patreon campaigns if you want to support those too. Otherwise, just subscribe to our YouTube channels. Thank you very much for joining. Thanks for being a great guest, Stuckman-ized.
Hey, thank you guys. Honestly, though, this is really cool. I've gotten to meet you, Adam, but I haven't got to meet the other two. Maybe one day that'd be cool.
Yeah.
I'll be in
I
LA next
appreciate
year for film school, so
Oh,
maybe-
shit.
Oh, nice. Yeah, we'll try to
Yeah,
meet up
there
and
you
do
go.
something.
Hell
Yeah.
yeah.
make that short film about people eating their phones. It's
Yeah.
happening. Get ready for it, people.
Do I get a writer's credit or what?
Yeah, sure. We all get
Yeah,
like
well-
a story by credit.
Cool.
Why not? Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I be the
It's not
main
like it's gonna
character?
go
Can I
anywhere.
eat a phone?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Eat a phone.
Please do.
Mm.
Yeah.
All right.
We're gonna
Method
we'll work
acting.
out the logistics later. Yeah.
I'll start eating phones to prepare for this role.
Okay.
You might see a live tweet from the hospital at some point.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye
Bye.
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 Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.